Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I have filmed this video on the day that it's going out because although I filmed this makeover a few days in advance, I didn't do the intro. So today's been busy. I've been interviewed for Sky News about spina bifida and that's going out this evening. And yeah, so I wanted to talk to you obviously and give you the introduction of why I chose today's red lip look. And today's red lip is a lipstick called Micro Red. It's Micro Bubble Lipstick in Micro Red by Daniel Sandler. Okay, and the reason that I chose this was again to do with not really the brand but the owner of the brand. Now, there is a video out there that some of you will already have seen, which is called Why I Love Daniel Sandler. And I will link that one below, which kind of goes into a little bit more depth about how I ended up hearing from Daniel. But I'll just give you a bit of a general introduction to this. So basically, to cut a long story short, I'd had some difficulties with accessing a makeup shop, and it was a bit upsetting, and I decided I was going to do something positive and write a letter, because I do think that cosmetic companies are a little bit behind with everyone else. I think everybody else is struggling to keep up, but I think cosmetic companies don't appear to be that ahead of the times in terms of thinking about equal access to their shops. And I thought I need to do something positive about this, because the experience, which you can hear about in the other video, was quite upsetting and quite shocking, really. So I wrote a letter and tagged a lot of makeup companies into this letter saying, please think about access. Because there's a whole group of women out there, men possibly too, that really are into makeup, and that it's so important for them, and you're not thinking about access and how we can get into the shops. And I got 3 responses. Last time I said I had 2, which is true. I had 2 companies, but I also had a makeup artist from Charlotte, Tilbury, responding as well, because she'd done my face when I went into Charlotte, Tilbury, and we kept in touch. But I had 2 companies. One was Beauty in the Boutique, who'd already been in touch with me before, and the other was from Daniel Sandler, and he doesn't even have a physical shop. He has an online shop. But he was really, really helpful. And I just really respected the fact that he realised it was important enough to respond to it. You know, at the time, I think when I tweeted it on Twitter, I don't have a lot of followers. I certainly didn't have too much about my channel on Twitter. But he thought it important enough to respond to. And I really appreciated that. And also, just whenever I tag a picture, and I'm wearing one of Daniel Sandler's products, he always seems to comment or respond. He's just so encouraging. You know, some companies, you'd be surprised actually, a lot of companies, you know, you mention their products and they don't, you never hear from them. There's not even a thank you. You know, it's not like you want them to be, I don't necessarily want them to be put me on PR lists and send me lots of freebies, although that would be nice, the freebies, but a thank you would be nice. Daniel always does that, and I think it's because he genuinely cares about what people think of his makeup, and he genuinely wants to know that it's working for them and what skin tones it's working for. And like today, I've never met the man, but I messaged him to let him know today that I was going to be doing his lipstick. And I said, I'm about to go on to Sky News. And I said, does my makeup look okay? And he said, just make sure you powder well because you're in front of a camera. And it's just little things like that, you know, a man I've never met before, but he cares because he knows that I use his products. And I've just noticed as well, when people review stuff on the Daniel Sandler website, they always respond. So they're reasonably priced, really good quality, and the company, and in particular Daniel, really seems to care about their products. So what more can I say? You can I've just now he's commenting on my post as we speak. It's just come up on my notifications. So I'll link the other one below, which tells you a little bit more about what happened with this other makeup company. I don't name them. I never am going to name them. The way that I see it is I'm just not going to shop there anymore. And if they realised who they were and saw how much I spend on makeup, then they'd realise that actually it was their loss. And I just hope that things improve. So I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial and using as many Daniel Sandler products, but particularly this red lip, which I highly recommend. And I'll see you later. Take care and enjoy the video. Okay, so let's get going with this look, shall we? So try as I might, I've looked everywhere. I cannot find the Daniel Sandler primer. So as I am going to be putting on his foundation, which isn't as high coverage as the ones that I like to use, as you know, I am going to put on instead, I'm going to put on Charlotte's Unisex Healthy Glow, because that's got a bit of colour correction to it. So let me just show you this again. It kind of helps to colour correct my hyperpigmentation before we start. Let me do the other side. Look at that. Look at that. Just takes that muddiness away. I'm trying to stick to everything from the brand when I'm doing the lipstick on the day. And as I said, I would have used his primer if I could find it. Right, okay. Little confession, I just snuck off to clean my teeth because they were looking a bit manky. And even though red lips always make your teeth look whiter, it was going to have its job cut out. Right. One of the things, as it's Spina Bifida Awareness Week, I must tell you that one of the things that you may not think of is it actually does affect my teeth. So my teeth were actually really, really white. They just were. But a lot of the medication that I have to take for my condition has a side effect of drying my mouth out, which starves you of saliva and causes tooth decay. So I actually have toothpaste on prescription with extra fluoride in it because of that. And it's so as it's Awareness Week, I just thought I should actually mention things like that, because they're things that perhaps people wouldn't necessarily think about. So there are things like there's medication that a lot of us take for because of neurologically your nerve supply to your legs is affecting your legs. What happens is that the muscles tense up and they become what they say hyperspasticity, and they go into spasms. And one of the medications that you take to kind of relax that actually dries out the mouth, as do a lot of painkillers, as do a lot of other medicines as well that we have to take for other parts of our condition. So it does starve you of saliva, which is nature's way of keeping tooth decay at bay. So my teeth are not brilliant, to be quite honest. And I probably would like to have a little bit of cosmetic work on them at some point, but who knows? I may not. Just the fact is that I'm still introducing medication that dries out my mouth, so it kind of, if I was stopping that, or I was stopping medication that didn't do that, so it wasn't going to do that anymore, I might consider it. Anyway, let's get going. I had some feedback, by the way, that I was looking down at the camera and I keep forgetting that I need to be a bit straighter on. So let me know if today's is better. By the way, another thing about my condition is that you won't know this, but I'm actually 4'8" tall. So I'm sitting now on a cushion and I have raised up the camera, but part of that is definitely to do with my condition. I'm just going to put this concealer on while I tell you. So one of the things that goes alongside spina bifida is scoliosis, which is a curvature of the spine, and that's caused again by neurological supply and the fact also that my spine is tethered. So as I have been growing and the spine grows, it's caught up, so it will obviously cause the spine to start bending. And if you do a little measurement of your ulnar length, which is the length from your wrist to your elbow, and you do a little calculation, it works out how tall you are. So if you don't have scoliosis, and I did that, and I should actually be 5'3". So you may sometimes notice on my videos, I've noticed it because I know to look for it, but you may have noticed that on my videos that one shoulder is a lot lower than the other, and I've got one shoulder blade that there and one there because of the curvature of my spine. And I was quite surprised to find out you can have curvature of the spine. Why am I putting on concealer? I haven't put on the foundation yet. I'll be back. I could actually put on the concealer first, but let's do it this way. So I was quite surprised to learn that Princess Eugenie had got scoliosis, which of course you can get without spina bifida, as she obviously has, and that she'd had surgery to correct hers. I'm not sure, I think it was sort of discussed when I was a child. I couldn't really tell you now because my mum unfortunately is no longer with us, but I would assume that it was off the cards for me because correcting it would have meant having to untether my cord, which is a little bit complicated. But yes, so I'm not very tall, which now the other thing I was going to tell you, because it's Awareness Week, so sort of little things that you may not have thought about that affect people with spina bifida, is that I was telling you about this hyperspasticity in the legs, and basically your legs have to work 3 times as hard as anyone else's just to stand up. That was a quote from one of my consultants, by the way. I'm not just making that up. And she said that's why you get very tired and very fatigued. And she said the good news is if you're ever in a gym and you go and get onto a treadmill, which at the time I was, I could do a bit of that. She said whatever it says about calories at the end, just times it by 3. But my other half, once I was lying on the sofa with my legs up on his lap, and he said to me the next day, he said I couldn't get over it because I'd fallen asleep, and he decided to massage my legs because he said they felt really tight, and he said he could feel the muscles just constantly twitching, and he was trying to massage them to calm them down, and it didn't matter how much he massaged, they still were twitching. And he said he hadn't realised just how much my legs were working even when I was asleep. And so, yeah, I just wanted to tell you that, because again, it's all about awareness. So this medication that dries out my mouth is kind of designed to calm it down and tell the spine to kind of stop going into overdrive. It's not medication that would work just to relax someone's muscles. It's medication that works on the neurological supply to those muscles. So it has this, what doctors, and I've picked up a lot of jargon over the years, what doctors would say was an anticholinergic effect. Or is it cholinergic effect? Anyway, but that makes you dry out your mouth. And I've promised I'd tell you some funny stories. So while I'm just playing about with this concealer, a long time ago, one of my orthopedic doctors were not ever really my friends. They were, in that they helped to correct my feet, but they're not the... I've got a friend who's an orthopedic surgeon, and with the exception of him, because he's lovely, they're not the biggest people persons. The ones that I've met, either through myself having treatment or by Jack having treatment, they're brilliant doctors, but they're not the best communicators in the world. And I know that's probably tarring them all with the same brush, so I don't mean it to all orthopedic doctors, but certainly the ones that I've met. One of them said to me once, corrected me because I used the term clubfoot, and said, we don't use that term anymore, it's politically incorrect. And I said, well, it's my clubfoot and I'll call it what I like. You know, telling me off for what I called my own foot. Anyway, I don't know why I'm getting rid of that. It's just because I'm talking away. So you can see it's got beautiful effect, this foundation and concealer. And the concealer is in the top there with a little mirror. It's brilliant. Okay, I'm not going to overly powder because I want to put on Daniel's watercolour blush, and it doesn't work over powder. And that's not what we're going for. We're going for a fresh skin effect and his beautiful red lipstick. So I'm just going to move on. I'm just going to put a little bit of a dusting of powder just down the centre where I get oily, and then I'm going to move on to the eyes. So I'll be back in a minute. I don't have a Daniel Sandler powder, but I will be back once I've done it, and I'll tell you what I used. Okay. I forgot to tell you what I used. It was MAC Pro Longwear Pressed Powder in Medium Plus. I've got 3 palettes from Daniel Sandler. He sent them to me, by the way. He's such a dear. He really is. Anyway, there's this one, which would work with a red lip. In fact, I think they would all work with a red lip. Purple, surprisingly, does work with a red lip. But I'm going to have to go with this, I think. It's got beautiful gold in there, which I think goes really nicely with a red lip. By the way, Jack, everybody that's been asking about Jack's arm, do you want to come and tell them about your arm? Everyone wanting an update about Jack's arm. By the way, I'm just in my dressing gown today, so I'm probably looking a bit grungy, but there you go.
We need to check out how my hair looked.
Do you want to tell them about your arm? Come on, tell them. All right, shall I tell them?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, I'll do the gold. Sorry, my eyes keep watering. Because they're really sensitive today. And, you know, mouth dries out, eyes dry out as well. And that's definitely medication related too. And my mouth, when my mouth dries out, I have some of my tea. And this is something that Jack bought for me, by the way. Oh, the light. Hang on. No, that's still not going to help you see it. It says, "Mum, well done, I'm amazing." Okay, to tell you a little bit about Jack, I'm going to start putting on this eye palette. To tell you a little bit about Jack, his arm wasn't broken after all. The people in accident and emergency thought it was broken. But all the x-rays go off to the paediatric fracture clinic for review, and when the consultant reviewed the x-ray, he said it wasn't broken, but that he had injured his soft tissue quite badly, so he recommended him stay in plaster for that following week. So he was in plaster for a week, and then to wear the sling for a further 2 weeks, which was a lot better than we were initially told, which was plaster for 6 weeks, when we were told in A&E that it was broken. So he came out of the sling. He came out of the plaster on Friday, immediately said, "Yay, it's not broken," did too much. And I ended up having to do mercy dashes to the school loads of time because he was in pain, because he thought my arm's not broken, and of course took the sling off. But anyway, eventually he realised it's not a good idea to take the sling off too early. He was in that for 2 weeks, and he came out of it yesterday. And he's absolutely fine now, touch wood. Hopefully no more pain in the arm, and he's a lot better. So thank you to those of you that have been asking about Jack's arm. All right. Now, I just need to get some brushes, and I will start this eye look. As I intend to put this beautiful gold. By the way, this palette is called Beyond Sunset. Right, okay. A little bit cracked there, but never mind that. I don't think you can see here, but this is the most stunning gold. And as I plan to put that on my lid, I thought I'd put some of this Colour Fix potion on my eyelid first, because Daniel actually recommended this, and it is really lovely. It just really brings out shimmer in eye makeup. Just works so beautifully. So I'm just going to put that on my lids and let it dry down until it feels a bit tacky, and then we shall get going with this look. I need to remember to try and stay straight on here so that you can see what I'm doing. I think my pillow has slipped a bit, so while this dries down, I will rearrange my pillow that I'm sitting on. Okay, pillow rearranged, and now I'm going to go in and I'm going to use this MAC 217 brush, and I'm going to use this shade, which is the most fantastic transition shade, just in the socket here as a transition shade. It's just a gorgeous shade, this. Okay, and I'm going to take some of that with a MAC pencil brush underneath my eyes, which are a little bit watery at the moment, so let me just dab.
Bruv, what is your problem?
I love this because it just kind of enhances that taupiness that is already there under my eyes, and just makes it look a bit more uniform, like it's supposed to be there.
What is your problem? Bro!
And actually, no, I'll do that afterwards. Then I'm just going to take my finger. Or shall I take a flat brush? No, let me take my finger. I'm just going to pick that up with my finger. So I'm going to pick up this gold shade, and I'm just going to place that on my lids. Look at that. And you can feel it immediately sticking to that fix potion underneath. It's a really good eye base. Okay, now I'm going to go back in with my blending brush and a tiny bit more of that transition shade just to blend it in. I've got a little bit of fallout there on my cheek, but I'll deal with that in a minute. And just to add a little bit more depth to my eyes, on the corner, you know what I'm going to do. The very dark shade, but blended out to next to nothing, hopefully. Just right in the corner there, just to give my eyes that appearance of a little bit more depth. I'm just placing it. I don't want to put too much because I don't want it to overtake. I think it's absolutely fine as it is. I just want to create the appearance that my eyes are deeper set than they are. Okay, then back in with my blending brush. I'm pulling out my eye so I'm not going to drag the eye as I'm blending. Just blend that in. Little circular motions there. Like that. And I keep having to remind myself, hold the brush at the end, because then you're not pressing the shadow, you're blending it. There's a time for pressing shadow into the skin, and there's a time for letting it move around. I love that. So that, I'm just going to take a little bit of what, I'm not even going to dip that back in to the eyeshadow palette, and just put a little bit to link it up with the bottom of what is left on the brush of that darker brown, just so that it links up below. You can see there's still plenty of pigment left on that brush as it is. That doesn't seem to have blended as much. Let me just get rid of that harsh line. And then I'm going to go in with some, using the other palette, the dark palette with the black. I'm going to use the black to line my eyelids. So using the black out of Scandal at Midnight, I am going to show you the trick for hoodies like myself and how to get a really nice looking black eyeliner that doesn't overtake your lids and make them look even smaller. So I'm going to take a flat brush that's quite stiff at the end. I'm just going to be back. I would need to find the one that I need. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Now this is what I was looking for. Now this is a Real Techniques accent brush. Now I wanted this because one, it's small, but secondly, when you press on it, it doesn't give way. So it's a flat brush, but it doesn't give way. The ones I had in front of me, if you see, they were too much like that. And this one, they're flat brushes, but they give way too much. I wanted a one that wasn't going to give way, and the reason for that is that I want to take this black eyeshadow, so this one here, and I'm going to take the black right onto the tip of the brush, so like that. And then I am going to go along here and use this as a stamp and just tuck it right underneath the lid. So where the lid actually meets I'm going to do one eye and show you what the effect is. So where the lid actually meets
I don't care what tier I am.
the eyelash, that's where I'm tucking it in. So I'm not taking up any lid space whatsoever.
I got it a day. I got it like a day after.
And it just looks really good if you've got hooded lids. It really works. And I wish my eyes would just stop watering. And I'm just stamping. Stamp, stamp, stamping. Now, can you see the difference now? I'll clean up my watery eyes
It looks so cool.
later. But can you see the difference?
I look so cool.
It just gives a really flattering, defined eye. And then if you want, you can go under with an eye pencil and tight line, which I shall do. Let me do that, and then I'll come back and I'll do the other eye. Okay, so I used, by the way, this was Clinique Quick Liner for eyes. It's very good if you've got sensitive eyes. But can you see now the difference between that eye and that eye? It gives it definition without taking over the whole eyelid. So I'll just do the other one and I'll be right back. Okay, I did my brows off camera and I also did my mascara, and I'll post the details of what I used in the description bar. On to the red lips, but first I'm going to use this, which I got to go with the lipstick. It's called Colour Lock Prime and Fill Liner. Now what it says on the instructions is outline and fill in fine lines around the entire lip's edge, then follow on by applying lipstick or lip gloss. Okay, so I'm going to do that, and I need to sharpen it. I'll be right back. Okay, and then next I'm going to use, now you can dab this on and use it quite subtly, but you know me, I'm not a subtle girl. Sorry Daniel, I'm not going to show how to apply it subtly because I just love the colour. This is the Daniel Sandler Micro Red Lipstick. I'm just going to get my lip brush to tidy up that bottom line, and I'll be right back. This is a Charlotte Tilbury brush, by the way.
He keeps on joining our party.
And that is nearly today's look, but I just wanted to use, no Daniel Sandler look would be complete without his infamous watercolour blushes. Sorry, he's shouting at me. They're so infamous I nearly forgot what to call them. I'm so bad. Okay, let me just get a watercolour blush. Little thing, I've got all my Daniel Sandler stuff in one of his makeup bags. And look, there's the primer. I looked everywhere for it, and it's actually in the Daniel Sandler bag. Never mind. Right, let me get a watercolour. Okay, I'm going in with Glamour, and I'm going to put it on with my fingers. Just one drop. It's like a terracotta shade. And I normally, what I do is I apply it with one finger and then blend it with the other, because you really don't need a lot. And it just looks so natural.
You got more than 20. Sorry, Max got more.
I'm just going to dab my cheek because my eye is watering again.
Ooh, same.
And that, my friends, is today's. I meant to say before I go that I also got this Daniel Sandler lip gloss in Vivid Desire, and it looks beautiful. Obviously I don't need to put it over this. It's very pigmented and it's a lip product in its own right. It's got so much product in it. It's like 3 times what you would get in any other lip gloss, and it is gorgeous. I will put a picture of me wearing it at the end for you. But here is, sorry, that's me. I don't know what, oh, that's the watercolour blush, of course it is. There is, do you see? Absolutely gorgeous. Sorry, I had to come on and show it you. Isn't that just gorgeous too? And it's got a smell to it, and I cannot, for the life of me, work out what it reminds me of. It's a nice smell. When I work it out, I'll let you know. All right. I will take a picture. See you tomorrow. I hope you've enjoyed today's look and the red lip, and all the details about how you can tag your pictures will be at the end of this video, along with ways to donate to Shine Charity, which is the UK charity for spina bifida and hydrocephalus. They've given me a lot of support, so if you can, they would really appreciate your support. But please, please do keep your pictures of red lips coming in because I love them.
Your photo on Instagram, please type hashtag shiny red lip and or hashtag Aliem's beauty. Looking forward to seeing your red lipstick for my mum.